It's Miss Quinto again. So today we're going to be talking about another state of matter, liquids. So last time we talked about solids and we learned a few new words. One of them was atoms, which are these really tiny particles that are everywhere. So what happens when you join two or more atoms, you create a molecule, which in turn creates everything that's around us, which includes solids, liquids, and gases. Now, when we talked about solids, we learned that they have a shape and that you can touch them. Now, liquids are different. Unlike solids, they do have a shape. However, that shape changes depending on the container that they're in. If you later look at all the liquids in your life, you'll see that they have different shapes, but that shape will eventually change. Now, if we remember solids, what made them solids was that their molecules were so packedly tight together. This is not the case that we're going to see in liquids. Now, for liquids, the molecules are packed differently. As you can see here, it's following the shape of the container. Now, just think about the things that we drink. They're liquids. Think about a bottle of juice. Think about a cup of water. And for your mommy and daddy, think about a nice cup of coffee. Now take a look at all three of them together. You see the shape of the bottle is different than the shape of the cup, and which is different than the shape of the cup of coffee. That's what liquids do. They take up the shape of whatever container they are in. And that's my lovely daughter. Say hi, Vicky.
Hi.
Now, we can identify liquids by asking ourselves a few questions. Naturally, is it wet? Yes, liquids are wet, but that's not the only thing we can use to identify them. We can also determine the shape it's in. And if it has a shape, the answer, it depends. On what? Its container. So even if the liquid is already in a container, does the shape still change? The answer, it certainly does. Now here we have two different glass cups. Now besides that their colors are different, take a look at their shape. One is tall and thin, while the other one is short and maybe not so thin as the other one. Not fat, maybe fat. Now, remember, with liquids, their shape can change depending on the container that they're in. So right now, our liquid is nice and tall and it's thin. But is it going to stay that shape? The answer, no. So this is something you can try at home. You get two glasses, doesn't have to be glass, or two cups, better yet, and pour one of them with water. Now, what happens if I take the water from this glass and then pour it onto that? Is the shape going to stay the same? Let's see. Now, one other thing that we could have predicted is which has more water. We naturally would have thought the tall glass because it's nice and tall. Tall can mean bigger. Not necessarily. If we recall, the glass was also thin, so that we had the same amount of water as the tall glass as we now have in this small, not so thin and not tall glass. So to recap, unlike solids that have a shape that doesn't necessarily change, the shape of the liquids can, depending on the container that it is. Why? Because of the molecules. In solids, they're so closely packed together, whereas in liquids, the molecules are still packed together, but they're not so tight because their shape is constantly changing because of its container. Now, you can either do the same little experiment we did with the two cups, or if you want to test out the shapes, you can take a look inside your fridge. Look at the gallon of milk. Look at the container that the juice is in. Or you can just pour some water into a cup. maybe 2 cups, so you can tell the difference. And you can see that all liquids are not all the same.
Cotton.
Now, my daughter brought us a juice carton from our fridge. But yes, even juice that is a liquid, it is wet, it's not going to stay this rectangular shape forever, especially if I pour it onto a cup. Because my daughter wanted us to do another experiment, look what happens to the shape. Remember, the juice was in this nice rectangular container. Now what happens if I pour it onto this thin, tall glass? Is the shape still a rectangle? It is not. Now it's kind of a cylinder, and now it's taking up that shape instead. That's what liquids do. Why? The molecules. Well, I hope this has helped. I know it's a little bit too much information to take in, but hopefully these little bits of videos are helping you guys out. And another thing you can try at home is making your own molecules. All you need is Play-Doh, either a toothpick or, in our case, the ear cleaner. And you can make your own molecules at home.
Bye.
And it can hopefully help you out.
Bye.
Not yet. So remember, solids, the molecules are packed together tightly. Liquids, the molecules are still packed together, but they're not so tight. Now, when we look at gases for the next video, you're going to see all 3 different states of matter and how the molecules are packed. I hope this helps you. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.